Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 4evergreen's Get Sorted webinar. Today, we will hear about the value chain approach to recycled at scale. Please note that the webinar will be recorded, and there is the question and answer function for you to use to pose your questions.
Sure.
Meanwhile, I would ask everyone kindly to mute yourselves if it's not your turn to speak. Many thanks. We will have about 2 hours to spend on collection and sorting. And we will start by introduction to 4evergreen. That will be followed by introduction to the new deliverable, as well as point of view of industry in collecting and sorting. Then we will hear about Veolia's approach on sorting plants, as well as EXPRA's view on collection and sorting in several countries. After the presentations, we will have a panel discussion followed by a Q&A from the audience. My name is Maria Holopainen, and I have been as a co-lead to Workstream 5 within 4evergreen for some time already. And besides that, I have had the pleasure to participate in other work streams, such as the Workstream 3. And there I have been contributing to the recent annexes that are part of the new deliverable. Before we give floor to other speakers, I have the pleasure to introduce you briefly to 4evergreen. 4evergreen is a cross-industry alliance that has over 110 members, representing the entire value chain when it comes to fiber-based packaging. We have forest owners to paperboard producers. We have designers, brand owners, as well as recyclers on board. Together, the value chain combines their experience and expertise to develop tools and guidelines for even more sustainable fiber-based packaging sector. 4evergreen's goal is to reach a 90% recycling rate for fiber-based packaging by 2030. Our members represent the whole range of fiber-based packaging value chain. You see quite many familiar logos in front of you, and we are pleased to see our membership base growing continuously. How we then make a difference? Thanks to our members, 4evergreen has been able to rely on 4 technical work streams that focus on 4 key areas. First, evaluating packaging recyclability. Second, designing for circularity. Third, advising effective collection and sorting. And fourth, innovation. For each area, 4evergreen has developed a series of guidelines and protocols. Besides that, we also have a 5th work stream that develops the fact-based and communication assets for informing, educating, and engaging with 4evergreen's target audiences. The goal of Workstream 5 is to spread our messages and encourage industry to adapt our tools. Now, the latest addition to 4evergreen's work has been the cross-workstream standardization group, as well as the cross-workstream future innovation group, as response to the changes in packaging landscape. So what's in it for the packaging value chain? As you learned within our work streams, 4evergreen has developed a series of guidelines and protocols. Now we have a harmonized way to evaluate if and in what mill a product is recyclable, or whether it affects the recyclability of fiber-based packaging where it is being applied. We have started with increasing knowledge base about the suitability for standard mill recycling, and soon we will have the same established for both flotation de-inking as well as specialized mills. Besides that, we have a tool to understand how different components, elements, and materials of fiber-based packaging impact recyclability of it, and then we can also design products accordingly. Today, we will have a deep dive on the guidance to make the collection and sorting of products at source more harmonized and effective, so that we can ensure that the product is recycled properly and it never becomes waste. Next, I would like to give floor to Guillermo Valles from SAICA, representing Aspapel in 4evergreen, who will introduce us the new deliverable. Guillermo, floor is yours.
Thank you, Maria. Let me introduce first. I'm Guillermo Valles. I am a member. I work for the company SAICA, and I'm representing Aspapel in 4evergreen. I have been collaborating as co-lead of Workstreams 3 this year, 2024, working to introduce to create the new deliverable, the new version of our deliverable. First of all, what is our Workstream about? Is about trying to monitor the best practices on collection and sorting in order to prepare the best materials for the final recycling in the paper mills. Why do we need this guidance that we are now presenting in its third version? We need that guidance because this collection and sorting is key for improving the recycling rate. Also because we have many different collection systems in Europe, and to some extent we need to think on what would be the optimized system and harmonized system along Europe. And then also that we need a high quality standards in order to get the best material and not create quality problems in the recycling of the paper mills. The first version was released in September 2022, and it was revised as a conversion in December 2023. This guidance is going to publish today publicly in its third version. And this guidance has been the consensus of 47 participants companies in this Workstream 3. What is the content of this guidance? First of all, it gives an overview on the recycling legislation. Also, we define 2 routes for collection and sorting, the standard and the in-kiln mills route, to divert the packaging to these standard paper mills, collect, sort, and divert this packaging to standard paper mills. Also, another route, which is the one that diverts the packaging to the specialized mills. We also settle the practical recommendations on how the sorting fiber packaging can be done, and then also we have introduced 3 new chapters to go deeper in some aspects of the collection and sorting systems, and this is all new. What do we expect for the guidance, or why the guidance was created? Well, the guidance settle key recommendations to optimize fiber-based packaging recycling across Europe. It has defined 2 routes to collect and sort the material accordingly, and to send this material to or standard mills or specialized mills. And then with these the definition of these 2 routes, 2 standard routes or harmonized routes, then we think that we are contributing significantly to reach this 90% recycling rate as target that 4evergreen has. We have provided the actionable recommendations to enhance this recycling across European countries, optimizing these collection and sorting systems. In the new version, what has been done? We have revised some things and we have introduced new things. The revision, the topics we have revised were first the recommendations about the collection and sorting for the packaging to be sent to the standards and specialized mills. We have also settled in the routes what is the suitable packaging to be collected through each routes, based also on the improvements of the evaluation protocols and the conclusions of the evaluation protocol that has been developed by the Workstream 1 of 4evergreen. Then we have entered more in detail in the connection between the EN643 and the collection and sorting systems. And then also we have updated the deliverable with the legislative changes, mainly the PPWR, the Packaging and Packaging Waste new regulation, which is still a draft, but is going to be approved in the coming weeks. And then we have introduced these 3 new chapters. One related to the organic contamination, the second one going deeper in the sorting systems, and the third one going deeper also in the monitoring of the HoReCa and on-the-go current recycling systems. About the 3 new annexes. The first one related to the organic contamination. When we began to work on that, we settled three big aspects to be analyzed. The first one is to define which types of contamination can have paper packaging, and this type of contamination can be or dry or wet moist food residues. The second one were the impact factors that can hamper the collection and sorting. 2 main factors were defined. The first one is the quantity of contamination, and the second one is the local climate conditions. And then the main impacts or the main effects that this organic contamination may have was defined as the risk of bad smells, pests, microbial growth, and self-combustion during collection, sorting, and recycling processes. And then with that, we are not only not defining or describing the challenges of the system when we have this organic contamination introduced in the system, but also what are the solutions to be implemented to minimize this negative or these challenges. Eco design for in the way of the collection, the side of the collection. The eco design for easier emptying, the separate collection of paper as a driver of all the collection system, public education of the public, and then also to increase the collection frequency. Also in the transportation, we have settled some recommendations in order to minimize the impacts, dedicated compactor of trucks, curtain-side lorries, and cleaning systems for transportation vehicles. Also in the stage of the sorting, we settled a recommendation in storing material separately, using dedicated shifts to introduce material that is contaminated when possible. Also in the paper mills, about the storage, we have settled the recommendation on an isolated storage for this material, and also the use of biocides in order to prevent biological growth in water systems. And then finally, what we settle also in the recommendation is that if a packaging has been conceived to be used, and in this use, the risk of very high contamination is likely, then it has to be considered also to be compostable, just in case it is preferable to be diverted to organic waste collection. Then in the deep dive on sorting systems, what we have done is to go deeper on how the sorting systems are working, what are the best practices in these collection systems, in the sorting systems, and in the sorting plans. We have made an overview of the sorting plans requirements and the output fractions of each sorting line based on the EN643 standards. We have also evaluated the sorting plans layout and the output fractions for the two routes we defined, the one for the standard and the one for the specialized paper mills. We have described the typical sorting techniques, and also we have also in link with the Workstream 4 about innovation. We have described also emerging innovations and techniques for sorting fiber-based packaging. And then we also settle some recommendations on how to improve things in order to get the correct material finally being recycled in the paper mix, and to avoid cross-contamination, maximizing recycling efficiency. And finally, in the Oreca and on-the-go recycling systems, we have made a huge overview on the best practices that are now implemented in the Oreca and on-the-go sectors. Also, we have defined how many the different environments in which this fiber-based packaging is collected, in the store and on-the-go formats, and as well as at home. Finally, thirdly, we have settled that it is true that it is not a huge amount of packaging being used there compared with the global amount of packaging that is consuming in Europe, but it is true that it is very visible. And then if we want to have this recycled at scale implemented in Europe for the whole fiber-based packaging, then we need to have good collection systems in the Oreca and on-the-go sectors. We also define how to make this collection properly in order to get a good secondary raw material. And then also we settle rules to how to improve things.
Many thanks, Guillermo, for introducing us the new deliverable. I would still like to keep you on the stage for a while. And now, instead of focusing on the new deliverable, could you please share us now the point of view of industry in collection and sorting?
Yeah, thank you, Maria. So I will try to describe what are the interest and the needs of the paper mills when talking about packaging and packaging waste and collection, sorting, and recycling in this packaging. Well, the first thing that we have to take into account is that paper for recycling is a raw material for the paper industry. In a circular economy, what is waste for once is a resource for the next ones, and then this is really a key question for in the recycling and paper recycling system. Although legally it's still a waste, this is changing in some countries with the process, some procedures on end of waste for this material. But generally speaking, in Europe, paper for recycling is waste. But the paper mills manage them as a raw material, not as a waste. Okay, and then also the waste management companies or suppliers try to provide to us products and raw materials. And they treat us it also as raw materials. What we need as a raw material, well, as any purchaser in the industry, when we buy this raw material, we ask for availability or quantities, we ask for efficient cost, and we ask also for quality. And what is all these three about? About availability and quantity, you know that paper for recycling is a commodity in a worldwide market. Although Europe presents a superavit, a surplus of paper for recycling, this does not mean that the availability is guaranteed. 52 million tons of paper for recycling were collected in Europe in the CEPI countries last year, of which 44 million were consumed in the member states and 8 million were exported. We compete with Asian paper mills in this worldwide market, and there are many factors influencing this worldwide market. In these factors affecting areas like North America, the Far East, and Europe, the three big consuming areas of this raw material. We need a robust collection system in order to get this availability. Since 1991, as you see there, when collection was 25 million tons, these collections have grown 27 million tons since then. And the main increase took place between 1991 and 2005. Global volumes at a worldwide level has stagnated since then because of the reduction in paper consumption. So the collection rate has grown from 40% in 1991 to 79%, talking about global paper. But in paper and board packaging, the recycling rate has grown from 61 in 1997 to 83% in 2021. And all of this has been possible thanks to good collection system and the improvement in the collection system that has taken place in the last 30 years. As you see here, Europe is the world champion in paper recycling, with a recycling rate of 71.1% in 2022. The updated figures of the recycling rate shows that the last year this rate grown till 79% at a European level. This is all paper products, not only packaging. And then talking about this availability quantity, and it has been key to improve this availability, the implementation of the household collection systems. Commercial and industrial packaging has always been collected, and it had a good collection system since years 60s and 70s of last century. 70% of the packaging is consumed by retailers and industry, and is collected in retailers and the industry, but 30% is household collection. And the big jump in the collection has taken place because in the last 30 years, because these household collections system were implemented. We need more. Why we need more? Because the paper recycling capacity in the paper mills is growing all over the world. In North America, there will be more recycling capacities in the coming years. In Europe, also more capacity are going to be built. So all in all, we will have enough capacity to recycle almost every paper that can be consumed. So that's why we need more sophisticated collection systems in order to be able to collect as much paper as possible to fit these recycling capacities. About the second factor, cost. Well, paper for recycling is the main cost for the recycling paper mills. Together with the energy, it is the key cost for the production of new paper, of recycled paper. And also recycled paper is the biggest cost of the following ones in the supply chain, the producers of fiber-based packaging. So anything that affects the cost of the paper for recycling would affect the paper mills and obviously the fiber-based packaging producers. This cost and price is driven by the supply-demand balance in the international market. It doesn't have a relationship sometimes, many times with the cost. But obviously the cost of collection is a key factor that can influence the cost of the price of the material. So the collection cost has to be as much efficient as possible. It is true that more complexity can introduce higher collection costs, and that's why define a good collection system and an optimized collection system is key to get this raw material cost under control. And then the third factor will be the quality. Quality is key in order to produce recycled product. When in a circular economy, recycled product has to have the same behavior and the same functionalities than the one made with virgin materials. So the quality of the collected material has to be at the same level than the quality of virgin materials. To have a paper under specifications, only fiber can enter in our paper machines. Anything not being paper or fiber has to be extracted in our stock preparation plants, and then raw material paper collected has to comply with our specifications in terms of quality in order to make this extraction possible. If this extraction is not correctly made, then or we will have problems in our final product, or we will have problems in our production process. And then if these problems appear, then the material can be categorized by the mill managers as prohibited materials, because we might not accept anything that can harm our production process or our product. In order to settle specifications on the quality of this raw material, EN 643, the European list of standard grades of paper and board, was published in year 2002 in its first version, and in the second version it was updated in 2013. It is made of 50 years of experience, of recycling knowledge and experience, both of the waste management companies, the collection side, and the paper mills in the final recycling process. It settles any general rule about what can or cannot be accepted by paper mills, and then it includes a group 5 of standard grades which need special stock preparation plans to deal with this material. This special group, this group 5 of special standard grades, already existed in the first version of year 2002. So when we talk about standard mills and specialized mills, we have to know that this specialized mill already existed in year 2002 because there were already collected papers that need special facilities to be recycled. The challenge of quantities when we talk about qualities, when we talk about packaging recyclability, we talk sometimes about individual packaging recyclability, but then when we collect this packaging, it enters in the collection and sorting stream, and the final product of this stream are bales of 1 ton of material. The EN 643 settles the rules on what you can find in these bales or not find in these bales of materials. Our stock preparation plans are built to deal with the contaminants, with non-paper components and paper and board detrimental to productions to some extent. Although every stock preparation plant is different to others, the EN 643 settles the general tolerance levels for both non-paper components and unwanted material. And then collection and sorting systems must guarantee that these tolerance levels are respected. And then finally, about the organic contamination, that is also another factor to be taken into account. EN 643 settle very strict limits on organic contamination. In principle, the zero tolerance level that was in the EN 643 has been amended by a technical specification when that settles the rules on when this 0% tolerance level can be breached. And then, as we have said in the presentation of the deliverable, this organic contamination is also a challenge both in the collection and sorting. But as any other factor, it is a question of quantity in order to be taken into account when accepting the material or not in the paper mix. As a conclusion, all the paper products are recyclable. The paper industry has invested over the last 30 years massively to be prepared to recycle any paper product. It is true that the collection and sorting system must be adapted to prepare the material to be sent to the paper mill standard or specialized that can recycle this paper product. And then also the unwanted material and organic contamination level must be respected if we want to have a high quality recycling of paper and at recycling at the scale for fiber-based packaging. And that's the end of my presentation, Maria.
Thank you very much, Guillermo, for sharing us the point of view of industry what comes to collection and sorting. Next, we will continue with Thomas Krauthoff from Veolia, who will share his experience on sorting plants. Thomas, please take control of the slides. So the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Maria, for the introduction. My name is Thomas Krauthoff. I'm working for Veolia Paper Germany. Veolia Paper Germany is working in the recovered paper supply. We are supplying German paper industry with around 1.5 million tons of recovered paper from own domestic sources, including sorting, as well as from overseas imports. I'm excited to talk to you about collection and sorting of fiber-based packaging from a waste management perspective today. We will look closely at how we are doing in Europe, what improvements we need, and the potential we have to significantly increase our recycling efficiency. I will review the topic based on our own experience and the work led by the 4evergreen initiative, which has set an ambitious target, as we already have heard, of 90% recycling rate. Let's break down what role plays collection and sorting on that target. In Europe, which is EU 27, Norway, Swiss, and UK, around 42 million tons of fiber-based packaging are collected every year. The collected material comes from three different sources. In our heads, normally is the household collection, which brings only 21% or 9 million tons into the collection. The major part is coming from industry, about 31% or 13 million tons, and commercial, which are shops and local businesses, are nearly about 50% or 20 million tons. These three sources have significant different recycling rates, with industry and commercially being at 85 to 88% respectively, while collection from household is 55% only. As current recycling rates need to be improved to reach an overall recycling rate of 90%, more focus needs to be placed on household collection, where sorting actually plays the most important role. As a guidance, as we have already heard, for the development of household collection, sorting and recycling infrastructure, 4evergreen recommends two streams for the collection of fiber-based packaging. A blue bin for fiber-based packaging suitable for recycling in standard packaging mills and for graphic paper grades collected together. The bin therefore contains paper and board waste which might be sorted to separate graphic grades used in the inking mills. Due to its clean composition, it can also be used for mixed paper grades without further sorting. A second stream is collected in a yellow bin together with lightweight packaging. Yellow bin contains therefore mixed recyclables, predominantly from plastics, but also composites, including fiber-based composites or liquid packaging boards. These fiber-based packaging grades are suitable for recycling in specialized paper mills only. Germany provides an excellent example of this type of 2 to 3 streams and of how specific collection rules for households should look like to collect right material into right bin. Newspapers, magazines, and mono packaging from paper and board belong into the blue bin. Paper packaging, composite packaging containing wax or plastics coatings, coffee-to-go cups, burger wrappers, and especially all packaging with food adhesion go into the yellow bin. Not recyclable paper and board grades are still to be collected in residual waste or the black bin. Such initial separation is vital as mixing material complicates the sorting and recycling process. This guidance helps prevent contamination and ensures that paper mills receive the clean, high-quality material for recycling, as Giuliano was demanding in his presentation before. Germany's model shows how this specific, easy-to-follow rules people can guide to do the first step of sorting into the right stream. With these two bin system, blue bin contains clean, dry, mono paper and board waste only. This composition can be sorted quite effectively into the inking and packaging grades. Grades are defined, as we have already heard, in a well-known common standard EN 643. In EN 643, standard grade for the inking, which is the graphic fraction, is 1.11, while brown old corrugated container, called also OCC, is sorted into 1.04 grade. Composition in blue bin has changed during the years. Graphic grades used to have a mass share of up to 80%. Today, we are more or less equal, around 50% share, only from less demand of graphic products and the increased e-commerce from households. Normal yield of the inking grades after sorting are in the area of 40 to 45%, partly even below. Depending on sorting line design, there is a share of mixed paper around 10 to 20% still, and about 1 to 2% share of residual waste not suitable for recycling. Up to 40% of sorting outlet today from a household sorting blue bin is 1.04 or OCC. Once material from blue bin reach the sorting facility, they go through a well-automated and not too comprehensive process. That process involves more or less 5 steps. First, coarse screening, then fine screening, advanced near-infrared technology, and manual sorting when necessary. This kind of sorting line is designed to maximize efficiency and separate materials with acceptable yield. Automation makes it easy to process large volumes, keep cost low while maintaining high quality standards for sorted out recycling paper products. While blue bin, as we had heard already, collects clean fiber-based paper and board only, yellow bin handles different lightweight packaging, including PE, PET, PP, LDP, and LDPE, and different composites material. Due to the mixed collection of recyclables in one bin, sorting is obligatory. Up to 12 different material streams are prepared for recycling in a complex and highly automated process. Liquid packaging boards and fiber-based composites are only 2 of these different streams, having a share of around 10% of the input in sorting lines in Germany today. The yellow bin sorting process is highly automated and very sophisticated, using advanced technologies to ensure efficiency and quality control. In addition to mechanical sorting steps, near-infrared NIR-based sorting machines, nowadays even including artificial intelligence, are used to separate materials into the different streams. 30 and more of these NIR machines are needed in LWP, or lightweight packaging sorting sites, to separate the different streams. These machines use near-infrared sensors to identify and separate materials with different NIR spectra. Separation is done by shooting out selected materials negatively or positive. With this technique, necessary separation of materials with low share of residuals can be reached. This applies also for fiber-based packaging as liquid packaging board, as well as for fiber-based composites and any other fiber packaging collected in the yellow bin. Sorted out liquid packaging board fraction is quite homogeneous, while the fiber-based composites fraction is containing in general different types of paper and board, including even a share of graphic paper and tissue. Food residuals or organic stains and liquid can especially be found in these 2 fiber-based paper fractions, showing water contents in the area of nearly 20% and more. Non-paper waste contents, though, in general are below 10%. Due to the high content of non-fiber components and higher wet strength properties, as well as food and liquid contamination treatment, these streams can only be done in specialized mills. Let's summarize the findings of my presentation. In principle, sorting in fiber-based packaging is especially in the private household collection. The preferred collection system for fiber-based boards, paper from households, are the blue bin, yellow bin system, which gives a good quality and a good separation for the next steps in the recycling side. In blue bin, for example, in Germany, you will find a clean, dry mono paper and board collection, and this secures a high quality recycling fiber. Sorting is predominantly currently done for the inking mills, and demand is in automated standard sorting lines. The quality of this collection is so clean that it even can be used directly without sorting in the packaging production. The mixed yellow bin contains a collection of recyclables. That's why sorting is essential in sophisticated automated sorting lines with a high effort and cost. The impacts, especially on the quality of fiber packaging board, are coming from liquid and food in the collection. And this is not only coming from the food coming with the fiber-based packaging, but also from the side of the plastics. As an outlook, a further cooperation and guidance in the entire paper recycling cycle is needed to reach the targets of 90% overall recycling rate. What is also important is that the public education is essential for maintaining a quality in our recycling streams. In closing my presentation, let's talk briefly about Veolia, one of the leader in environmental services. In paper recycling cycle, Veolia takes a vital role in recovered paper collection, sorting, and handling in several European countries. In these activities, we are a major player supporting European paper industry in recycled paper supply. In addition to that, we are operating with Bell and Vision, an EPR system having significant market share in Germany. Bell and Vision is serving thousands of producers and traders in licensing and packaging, going into the market and supporting in questions on packaging design for recycling. Veolia's global reach and expertise gives it a unique position to lead the way in sustainable recycling. With over 218,000 employees across more than 60 countries, we are involved in everything from waste recovery to energy production and water treatment. Veolia processes an incredible 63 million metric tons of waste annually, playing a vital role in waste management and recycling efforts worldwide. Thank you very much for your interest.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for sharing your insights from a waste management point of view on sorting that will play a crucial role to further advance recycling of fiber-based packaging. Next, I would like to introduce Monika Romenska from EXPRA, who will share her views on collection and sorting in several countries. Monika, floor is yours.
Yeah. I would like to start with a few words about EXPRA, which is Extended Producer Responsibility Alliance, a bit a long name, basically uniting packaging recovery and recycling organizations all over the world. We have 19 members in EU member states, as well as members in other parts of the world, like Canada, like Latin America, as well as the Balkans, Turkey, Macedonia. So you see, we have a wide scope of members that contribute with their experience, their know-how. The cooperation between our members is dated for over 30 years, even if EXPRA exists formally for 11 years. And one thing that I would like to underline is that our members are non-for-profit or non-for-profit distribution, meaning that all the fees that are paid by the obliged industry are used for the improvement of the collection, sorting and recycling of the packaging put on the market. I would like to speak a little bit more general after the all very detailed and technical presentations, just to give a view how the whole system operates. I wanted to also say that basically all the increased recycling rates over the years in Europe especially were also due to the improvement in the implementation of extended producer responsibility, because with this system, actually, the whole circle that you see on the screen moves in the right way. As you see, the extended producer responsibility organizations are in the middle, as they have relations with the producers or the obliged companies that place packaging on the market. And then, respectively, they support financially and also organizationally. We believe that it's very important that the business, the companies via the EPR, have a say regarding the collection system that was already highlighted its importance in the previous speakers. So you see the EPR organizations support the local authorities either financially or also helping with organization suggestions how to collect the used packaging. And of course, they have also relations with the sorting and the recycling facilities in order to ensure that certain percentages of packaging are being collected, sorted, and recycled. Here, it's also very important that the EPR organizations support the producers of packaging, also the manufacturers, providing advice how the packaging could be made more recyclable, because they are in the middle of the circle. They can also provide advice, and they also have a tool to improve the recyclability of the packaging via the eco-modulation of EPR fees. So the more recyclable the packaging is, the less the company or the producer pays for its collection, sorting, and recycling. So I wanted just to highlight that sorting is just one of the activities in this circle, and all the stakeholders in this circle have to take care of their responsibilities and have to ensure that the all next steps are being taken into consideration in order to have this circle moving, as I said, in the right direction. I think that the guidance also covers all the different ways of sorting and collection of packaging, in this case, packaging, fiber-based packaging, and also liquid packaging board. As you can see here, we selected some different ways how the fiber packaging and liquid packaging board are being collected in different member states. As you might be aware, basically the waste management systems in the different EU member states are different. So EPR was implemented in a little bit different ways all over Europe. Actually, there are no two countries where the EPR system operates in the same way. Of course, this is based on the geographical conditions. It is based also on the decisions of the local authorities. As it was mentioned, local authorities usually organize the collection and help with the sorting packaging waste. So as you can see, the system where the paper and cardboard packaging are collected with graphic paper in blue bag is in member states like in the north, or like in the Czech Republic, or like in Spain, so in big member states. Of course, there are other options where the paper is collected with graphic paper in different colors of containers, as well as sometimes paper and cardboard are collecting separately, so not even with the graphic paper. I guess this is the more pure system, if I may say so. Also, as already mentioned, sometimes paper and cardboard are collected with liquid packaging board. As you see, this is also the case in many member states. And the liquid packaging board is collected with plastic, as already mentioned, in most of the member states. Because otherwise, as we already saw, there could be contaminations that will hamper the further sorting and recycling of the paper or the paper-based packaging. Of course, it depends how the responsibilities are distributed between the different stakeholders, because in some member states there is a dual system, like in Germany, or in other countries the packaging recovery organizations are operating in certain regions, so not all over the country. As you see, there are a lot of different options how the systems develop over the time. And basically, I would like to show you just visual to see how the different collection systems look like in the different member states. As you see, and already mentioned, usually the paper or the fiber-based packaging is collected in blue containers or bags. Again, there are exceptions based on previous developments or historical developments in the different member states. In some member states, the local authorities have the final say or have very key impact on how the collection is being made. Of course, in the best case, it should be cooperation between the EP organizations, so the industry and the local authorities, in order to ensure the optimal collection system, because as it was already mentioned, it is not only the receptacles, but also how often they are serviced by the collection companies. So it's very important to ensure that all systems operate in the most optimal way and not to go into extremes like putting collection points next to every house or collecting every day. So it's very important to have efficient and effective collection systems. I would like to share also some best practices from our members. I believe that the conclusions or the consideration are overlapping with the ones that were shared from the guidance. But this is also, as mentioned, from the point of view of the EP organizations from our members. So, of course, the key is that the consumers have access to separate collection systems. And for example, it's very important to ensure relevant KPIs for access to the collection points, as we call them. So basically, in many countries in the sub legislation, there are requirements. So per a certain number of inhabitants or consumers, there should be a point situated X meters from all the building blocks. So basically to ensure that there is it is convenient for the consumers, for the inhabitants to sort their waste. Because if it's not convenient, of course, this is an effort that is required from them voluntarily. So it's very important that they have the necessary infrastructure available. Of course, as already said, contamination is a very important point to be limited as much as possible. That's why, as those of you living in Brussels know that our member FOS Plus, responsible for household packaging, uses transparent bags. So then you can see whether what is properly sorted in the bag is collected. And then, of course, if there is something which should not be in the blue bag, then there are some fines for the inhabitants, and thus they are trained to do the right move. Of course, very important is the communication, again, already mentioned. It's very important also when designing the packaging to ensure that it's not overcomplicated, because if you have a very, like it's usually with the liquid board packaging, when it's overcomplicated, again, it can be difficult for consumers to decide where to put it. So again, it's very important to have simple messages for the consumers, so they should understand where to place the respective packaging. Again, it is very important also to motivate them. So all our members have campaigns either on social media or on the containers or via other tools, in order to explain to the consumers, to the inhabitants, why they should sort their waste. As I mentioned, this is additional effort that they should take. And so apart from supplying them with the necessary infrastructure, as well as a different other tools, it's very important to ensure that they understand how their efforts contribute to the prevention of litter, or how they can contribute to the preservation of nature via these actions. Of course, when there are issues with the collection, it's very important to undertake immediately actions. And for example, our Italian member, CONAI, saw that in 5 regions there were some issues regarding the collection and proper sorting of the waste. So basically, there was done analysis, and the problems were identified. Basically, in this way, it was helped to local authorities to ensure the increase of the quality in the collection of the waste. Of course, there are other consideration that should be taken into account. It is very important, of course, to use innovations in that process. And for example, even our small members like Greenpack from Malta, they introduced the Internet of Things. So they have a network of iBins that ensure that when a bin is full, then the citizens are help to find the next one, as well as to empty or service the bins in the most efficient way. So when they are filled, the drivers know which containers are filled, so they can organize the route in the most efficient way. Of course, I think it was already mentioned that it's very important to have relevant quality based on output grades and specification. Again, of course, this is important to meet the quality standards as already explained. Of course, there are other considerations, again, based on our members' experience. So basically, sometimes when there is specific need, the usual three-stream collection, which is PMD, fibers, and glass, there could be some exemptions. Of course, again, there should be a balance between the efficiency and convenience for the citizens, because for remote areas, of course, you cannot use the same system as in highly populated cities. Again, it's also important to ensure the balance regarding the distance to the nearest sorting center, so to optimize the whole road. As you all know, the European Commission is moving towards harmonization of the pictograms. They started with considering the color of containers, but again, the usually used containers are blue for paper-based packaging. In some countries, there are some differences, but in that case, you should have in mind that basically changing the way people should sort their waste and re-educating them takes 2 to 4 years. So in this period, you might not get well-sorted packaging, in that case, paper packaging. So that should be very well understood. And basically, the GRC that was working on this project understood these difficulties. So they moved towards suggesting pictograms. I will speak a little bit later about the pictograms harmonization. And of course, it's very important for the types of containers and the collection vehicles to meet the needs of the local circumstances, like geographic circumstances. As you, of course, can imagine, a collection in one of the small islands in the Aegean will be different from the collection in Germany, for example. I believe the requirements set in the packaging and packaging waste regulation have been explained very well in the guidance. Still, just to have in mind that all these categories, as you see at the bottom of the screen, are the paper and cardboard requirements, especially for liquid packaging. So all these categories should meet separately recycling rates of 55%. By a respective year. So again, this is a challenge that should be taken into consideration. And last but not least, this is apologies, the labeling requirements that are set in the packaging and packaging waste regulation. As I mentioned, the GRC, the Joint Research Committee, is working on harmonizing the labels. Their work is very much close to end, and what we understood is that at the end of next year they will have prototypes. Here again, it will be very important for the manufacturers of packaging to have in mind that all these labels should be placed on the both on the packaging and on the receptacles for the infrastructure. So basically, that will mean if there are too many specifics of the packaging, there should be several pictograms. And all these pictograms have to be placed on both packaging and container. So again, this should be taken into consideration by the manufacturers. So basically to have again all these circles that I mentioned in the beginning running around. So this was my presentation. Thank you very much for the attention, and I'm ready for the questions at the end of the session.
Many thanks, Monica, for your presentation. Please stay with us, because now it's time for the panel. And I would also like to invite all the other speakers to join me and Monica for the discussion. So if everyone can turn their cameras on, so we are then all here together. While we kick off the dialogue, I will now stop sharing. So then end of the panel, let's turn the slides on again, so that then we can give floor to the audience to come up with their questions. So I was thinking of that in order to get warmed up, maybe we take it in the order of presentations. So I will first approach Guillermo and then continue with Thomas before asking something from Monica. So we started with having introduction of the new deliverable. And now, would you like to elaborate, Guillermo, that who is now like the target audience for this new guidance and its recommendations, and how can they best implement the recommendations provided in this guidance?
Well, I think that this guidance gives the keys to build a good collection and sorting system, and then I think that the most we all are involved in this, but especially I think that the next steps to have a more accurate system, standard system, is the role of EPRs, waste management companies, or EPRs, PROs, producer responsibility organizations, are key, because in the end, collection systems are built by the local authorities or public authorities, and then PROs are the link with waste management companies, with recycling industries, and with the producers to develop and to take all these recommendations and implement in the real world. So what I think is that it will be key to have this guidance very well known by PROs and waste management companies and paper recycling mills, as well as producers, in order to influence new ways of collecting, or improved ways of collecting, or improved systems. And also, as Monica has said, is everything has to be taken into account. How the towns, how the villages are built, where are they, how many population they have, what is the consumption habits they have. All of this has to be taken into account, but also all these recommendations or guidance we give in this guidance is also something to be taken into account when implementing good collection systems or optimal collection systems.
Thanks, Guillermo. So then let's ask from a waste management company that how do they, or in this case, how does Veolia see now the 4evergreen proposal to focus on the yellow bin and the blue bin, and what are the potential challenges in this way of collection and sorting?
Okay, as I've already pointed out, is that we see the blue bin, yellow bin collection system as a benefit when it comes to quality of fiber, certainly. So this is gives a clear structure of clean, dry blue bin material and a little bit more difficult yellow bin material. Certainly, it's sorry, it's a question of different countries and history. So not everything can be changed. And as you know, we have in France, for example, mixed collection since several years. There, the collection and sorting systems are also working properly. So there are several sorting lines operated not only by Veolia but also, and also from there is a good quality being produced to the different streams. Certainly, when it comes to packaging material, there are some limitation, especially coming from liquids, as I must say. But it is important that for the inhabitants, it is a clear structure of collection, and it is clear where to put recyclables where in order to get good streams out of it. So I would say in general, blue bin, yellow bin is a beneficial when it makes sense for the different countries.
Thank you, Thomas. And then may I hear from EXPRA and Monica that how do you see the opportunities with the different stakeholders to improve the separate collection and recycling of fiber-based packaging?
Yes, I think I mentioned in the beginning how we see the contribution of each stakeholder in this circle that I showed. What we usually joke is that what is the best system is when all the stakeholders are a little bit unhappy. Because if one of the stakeholders is very happy, that will mean that the others might not be so happy. So basically, as I mentioned, it's very important to have cooperation all over the circle, and also to consider the EPR system not only as the end of life part of the circle, but also providing input to the manufacturers and to the producers how they can improve their packaging. Basically, a lot of our members have specific teams that advise the producers on this, how to make the packaging more sustainable. So again, in order to have this circle running, it's very important that every stakeholder takes their responsibility very conscientiously. And again, of course, as I mentioned, the consumers are key, so the other stakeholders should have that in mind, and also see the whole process and not only their part of the circle. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. If I may continue with you, I like this idea of everyone being a little bit of unsatisfied in order to have a balance. So how to move forward with developing the EPR landscape to let's say remain this unsatisfaction across the different participants, or like how to take the next steps to the right direction, so that we can learn from the best practices and make sure that we make the right changes.
Exactly, I will follow your words because in the Waste Framework Directive, where there is Article 8A dealing with the EPR minimum requirements, there was this suggestion or this text saying that there should be a platform to exchange best practices both at national and EU level, and this requirement has not been implemented yet, only in very few member states. So what we believe is that all the requirements, the minimum requirements in Article 8A should be implemented in all the member states. I believe we all saw the early warning report of the European Commission last year showed that many member states are struggling with meeting the targets, both of municipal recycling packaging waste and of municipal waste and the packaging waste. So basically, we believe that the current legislation has not been fully implemented, respectively monitored by the authorities. So we believe that this is one of the ways to move forward and also to move towards harmonization of the different systems, because, as I mentioned, all the requirements in Article 8A have not been fully implemented in member states, especially, again, having the differences in the different member states when there are several EPA organizations for one waste stream. Again, there is a need for monitoring and control by independent body, and this is also not have been implemented in all member states. So in order for the system to function efficiently, all these existing legal requirements should be implemented in order to move forward. Of course, as you mentioned, best practices exchange is key, and this is something that we try to do within EXPRA with different member expert groups or with webinars supporting members that lag a little bit behind with the front runners.
Thank you, Monica. Then I would like to hear from Guillermo that Monica was now highlighting that there are already like quite a lot different regulatory requirements which have not been fully implemented, that is now preventing member states or from reaching the recycling targets, and we learned about the early warning reports. So also the Commission has acknowledged this situation, but like what else besides implementing these regulatory requirements, the different stakeholders, including, for example, packaging producers, consumers, recyclers, policymakers, etc., how could they work together to optimize fiber-based packaging recycling?
Well, for me, there are two or three basic things that has to be implemented. First of all, to maintain public education and awareness, because if the citizens do not do their part of the work, then we are lost. Everything begins in them. So if they don't discard the packaging where they have to discard it, then nothing can be done by the rest of the stakeholders. So the public awareness and public education is key. Or to tell the people where to throw the things, how important their role is, because I am not sure that everyone in Europe knows the effectiveness of our system, the recycling rate of the paper packaging, how the 70% of the paper that is produced in Europe is recycled paper. And then I think that this is possible because of their role. That's the first thing. The second thing is trying to extend much more this separate collection of paper. We know that there are some countries where there is not a common thing, and I support totally what Thomas has presented, and also the two routes what that are defined in our guidelines, in our guidance. The blue bin route or the route for fiber-based packaging with less than 5% of other composites, and the other route, or this route for standard mills with the packaging that is assessed as recyclable by the test method of 4evergreen. So that's for me the other key point, and then also to refine the other systems that we are also monitoring in the new guidance, which are all the Oreca and on the go collection systems. Because if in a country there is already a good household collection system, then if we want, and then this gives us 80-85% of collection rate. If we want to achieve this 90-95% collection rate and recycling rate, then we need to collect all this Oreca and on the go packaging, and this is key also for achieving the final. So the final, as a summary, is maintaining public education and awareness, increasing separate collection of paper, and then finally go to these streams that are maybe not fully developed, even in countries where they have already a fully developed household collection system.
Thank you, Guillermo. Now I would like to hear views from Thomas. That Guillermo was highlighting that okay, in case we want to reach the 90%, we also need to collect those items, particularly from, for example, HoReCa, hotel, restaurant, catering sector, also being quite often consumed on the go. And we know that quite often this type of packaging comes with or can come with some food or liquid residues. And now when we think about like the yellow bin collection for fiber-based packaging, you mentioned that there can be some food and liquid residuals engaged with fiber-based packaging within that stream. So what is your view, like how could we then improve the quality of collected materials so that we would reduce the potential organic contamination and unwanted materials within the collected streams?
All right, that's an interesting question. Thank you very much, Maria, on that. I'm not sure if I'm the right one to answer it, actually, because basically when you look on what Monica has told us on the different collection systems and the guidance in the different countries, this is probably more a question on this side than on us as a waste management companies. We can only take what we get from the collection systems and processes. What we can say is that certainly liquids and foodstuff in any collection systems gives problems for the recycling. So starting from collection to the sorting systems and ending up at the recyclers at the paper mills. Certainly this foodstuff is being sorted out to a certain extent, but it contaminates especially fiber-based packaging, and in special there when there is not the wet strengths or hydrophobic been done on these fibers. So especially on newsprint and other, they are absorbing water and therefore having much more problems with liquid or organic contamination. Therefore, what I was already telling in my presentation, it is good to have a blue bin which is quite clean. There should not go any foodstuff in there. Liquid as little as possible, because this makes it easier to get a good quality for a standard mill, and it's also easier to sort this into different fractions. Taking the yellow bin or a separate collection for the more complicated stuff and bringing it then into specialized sorting sites and specialized mills make it much easier. When we talk about HoReCa, a lot of this material is actually collected at the restaurants itself, and also there it is important that the collection systems there and also is appropriate to a good quality fiber coming out and then being brought to a certain mill which can use it, but also there, whenever food and liquid is involved, we have to go to a specialized mills because they need to be able to deal with the organic contamination.
Many thanks, Thomas. Now I would like to kind of go a little bit deeper into this topic, combining this sort of challenge that we have with some food and beverage packaging, and then consumer, and also the guidance that is given for us. I noticed that Thomas, in your presentation, you had a very a good overview what comes to the guidance on sorting from Federal Environmental Agency in Germany, and there there was highlight of this 95 to 5 or 5% rule, that if you have monomaterials, they should go to the blue bin, and then paper composite that have more than 5% of non-fiber materials should go to the yellow bin. Also under the yellow bin, there was specific sort of like a line about on-the-go cups. And there we know, of course, that what comes to paper cups, it looks the same, but it's not. So, and in many cases, if you have a coffee cup, it could easily follow the, let's say, the monomaterial stream, having less than 5% of non-fiber material. And we know it's recyclable in standard mill. It could be recycled in de-inking flotation mill, as well as in specialized mill. So from recycling point of view, it's valuable raw material across all the recycling processes. However, like, how could consumer know? What do they have in their hands? We don't have maybe clear pictograms today. In some countries, maybe yes, but not across Europe. So how could we improve the system to optimize the collection and sorting in a way that we can also maximize the value of secondary raw materials, so that we really get the right package to the right place? If Thomas wants to continue, and then we give also floor to Guillermo.
Yes, thank you for the question, Maria. I would say guidance is needed and pictograms will be helpful. So that's clear. In the end, the guidance must be understandable and easy. So you mentioned the coffee to go cups, and there I would say pictograms can help, but do people really look on every cup and decide, is this now blue bin or yellow bin? And therefore I would come back to my initial comment. I would say the collection systems and the decision on a collection system has basically two dimensions. From my perspective, the 95/5 is a good and easy to use decision. Is it monopaper or composite? Because this already gives a quite good choice. Is it coming to a standard mills or going to a specialized mill with more wet capability of taking care of wet strength material and more complicated composites? Then there's the second dimension, and this means the food and liquid contamination. And there is, I would say, still a high likelihood that a coffee cup in the end is still not clean when it goes to whatever bin. So from my perspective, even though we know that some of the cups, not all of them, could go into yellow bin, into blue bin, and into standard mill, it's probably easier to simply define that if there is a risk of contamination, it's easier to go to a separate collection system. By the way, there is, when it comes to areas where there's a lot of coffee cups are collected, as you probably know, there are already separate collection systems for restaurants, for example. So some of the restaurants are offering separate collection of this coffee cups, and they know which coffee cups they are using. So, or not only coffee, also other beverages, and therefore also something that we are doing is collecting it separately at the site, and then supplying paper mills which can deal with this kind of material. So it's a clean stream. It's not household collection. It's a commercial site. And this is already working. And I would say if we would be able to implement more of these good exercises, on the not on the household, more on the commercial and industrial side. This would also help to improve the collection and also bring in the right material into the right mill.
Many thanks, Thomas. I really like this idea of bringing the right material to the right mill, because that could be at least part of the solution what comes to potential quality and quantity issues, and also cost that Guillermo was highlighting before. And now I would like to actually ask from Guillermo is that how is it today? You were talking about EN 643, the European list of standard grades of paper and board for recycling. Like how is it? Like is it something that can and should be followed? Or are there some challenges with this EN 643 and the quality of the collected materials? You're muted, Guillermo.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Yeah, just let me first of all follow the way of thinking of Thomas, as well as your intervention about the collection in the Horeca and on the go packaging. On the go packaging, we have a little bit more challenges in terms of stating where everything has to go in order to be recycled, and then, as Thomas has said, maybe with pictograms and with the labeling of the packaging, we can introduce the correct way of doing things to the customers. But in the Horeca, as Thomas has said, and you have also pointed out, we have the advantage of having private collection systems. This collection system built between the client, the Horeca retailer, and the waste management company that provides the service of the collection for this Horeca retailer. And then in this case, I think that things have to be built correctly and can be built correctly in order to make a really separate collection of packaging that has organic contamination or has layers or of other materials, in order to be sent to the correct, to be sorted out if needed, or then to go to the correct paper mill to be recycled. We have the advantage of this in this system. And about the EN 643, as any other standard, is something that can evolve. Every 5 years, we are asked, the industry is asked, the suppliers of the paper mills, they are both asked if they want to update the standard or not. It hasn't been updated since year 2013, I think, if I remember correctly, or 14, I don't remember. But to some extent, in the next revision, if things have changed and we need to adapt the EN 643 to the real world, we would be living in the recycling sector at that time, then we can update the EN 643. For example, in the last revision in 2013, the first version of the list had, if I am not wrong, about 40 grades, standard grades of paper for recycling. The second version in 2013 has more than 80 standard grades. So that was an example of a real updating of the standard list to the real world in 2013. Then we have to think on how the real world is today, how many new paper products, how many new packaging products are being introduced in the market, and then let's see how do we adapt the EN 643 to this new world.
Thank you. So Guillermo, you see that there most likely will be also evolution what comes to EN 643. Probably there will be also evolution what comes to the recent guidance on the improved collection and sorting of fiber-based packaging for recycling released by 4evergreen. So how would you see the future for this updated guidance that you were sharing us today, how is it going to develop and how is it going to evolve? More annexes or something completely different?
Well, I think that something go deeper. Maybe we have to refine the deep view in sorting, because in sorting, in innovation, there are many things happening. Technology is evolving very quickly. There are new things being supplied to the market. Also, PPWR is asking for a design for not only a design for recycling, but a design for sortability. And then we have to assess the sortability of the packaging. And this is something that I think that we have to develop further in Workstream 3, because really in parallel to having this as test methods for the assessing the recyclability of the packaging, we will need to have something as a kind of test method for assessing the sortability of some packaging. So that's the thing that should be introduced in the future in the work of Workstream 3, and then also see if we can introduce this in the guidance of the Workstream 3, or for the collection and sorting, or maybe it has to be introduced in the design for recycling, design for sortability of the packaging. Also, in the guidance, it is also said that in terms of reducing food contact, we are calling for easy to empty packaging, and this is something that affects to collection. Also, the design for recycling in the PPWR, the WR is also setting some guidance on saying, okay, things have to be easily collected and easily sorted. So I think that also in this side of the easy to clean aspect has to be further developed, maybe.
Thanks, Guillermo. Now I would like to actually approach Monica and get back to where you started your presentation about how national EPR schemes vary country by country. I think you mentioned that there is there are no two countries that would have the same EPR scheme. However, the principle remains the same, so that the EPR schemes are responsible for organizing the funding to arrange recycling, but then quite often it's the municipalities who are actually responsible for organizing the collection. So how do you see the future? What are the opportunities and challenges with this division of responsibilities, and how to improve the cooperation between these different stakeholders with different responsibilities?
Thank you. Yes, indeed, cooperation is a key word because local authorities are the key partners, and basically, as already mentioned several times, they usually have a say, even usually organizing, but also co-organizing with EPR systems the collection. So, of course, they are very important partners in this process, and it's very important from the beginning when defining the EPR system to have very clear roles and responsibilities. So the local authorities, the PROs and the companies know what they should do, who is doing what and who is paying for what. Because when there are overlapping responsibilities, that creates problems in the system, and it does not function in the best way. So basically, of course, it's very important to have negotiations. Most of our members have this very detailed process of negotiating with either with local authorities, or in the most cases with association of local authorities, or kind of regional association of local authorities, in order to ensure that the reimbursement is done in the right way. There are also different ways in order to ensure good quality of the collected material. So incentivizing purity in the collected material, or paying less to municipalities that don't manage in the best way. So basically, with cooperation, also organizing or funding the information and public awareness campaigns. As I mentioned, all our members are involved very much in the organizing campaigns, providing information to the citizens. For us living in Belgium, we know the FOS Plus guidance how to sort the waste. It's quite a big material. It's also translated in all the languages of the people living in Belgium. So this is again trying to help as much as possible to the consumers to understand what they should do and why they should do it. So as already mentioned several times by the colleagues, the information to the citizen is very important, so they know what to do. And all these communication campaigns are funded via the EPR. So again, I would like to highlight that EPR is a tool. So basically the industry pays for the collection, sorting and recycling of their used packaging. And the EPR is a tool with which these funds goes to the respective stakeholders, like the local authorities, the sorting facilities, or the recyclers, because in other types of packaging, not for paper, but for glass, for example, there was some years when the value of the packaging was negative. So basically, via the EPR, the industry was funding on ensuring that the sorting and recycling facilities will continue to operate. So again, the communication with the consumers is key. Of course, it's very important, again, to ensure that everything is done in the most efficient way, because again, when there are local elections, for example, it's easier for the mayor to promise to have container next to each house and to collect the packaging with a Rolls Royce, but this is not a successful scheme, as we can all imagine. So it's very important to have this understanding between the local authorities and the industry via the EPR, how to organize the optimal system in order to ensure better services for the inhabitants, as well as less littering, of course, because the better the system operates, the environment is much more pleasant to see. So all these issues should be communicated to the consumers. And as I said, again, there should be also measures to appreciate when the municipality is doing a great job and when it's not doing such a great job.
Many thanks, Monica. Now I think it's time also to start opening the floor for questions, and I see that we have quite a lot of them. So I'm not gonna expect us to be able to answer all of them, but I will pick those questions that that continue this dialogue, and I would have at least two questions that are touching sort of the blue and yellow bin division. And there is first one question about that in France, like de-inking rates are now decreasing or disappearing from the waste stream. So talking about the traditional newsprint and magazine papers, and thus, at least in some areas, collecting materials for blue and yellow bin together has increased collection rates significantly, since consumers can put all packaging in one single bin. And then the question is, why is this option not considered? I first want to comment that the proposal from 4evergreen is to look into these blue and yellow bin options. But while saying that, it has also been acknowledged that there are different collection schemes available. For example, in the Nordics, the newsprint and magazines, so the de-inking grades, are collected in one bin. And then there is another bin for fiber-based packaging, which is then including the OCC grades as well as fiber-based composites and so on. So indeed, there are different ways to organize this. But what would you say about this French approach to put all fiber-based materials for recycling in one bin? Thomas, do you want to start, or shall we give it to Guillermo?
No, I can start, and maybe Guillermo can add. So I have already said before that it is working, and it is working very good in France. So that's no question about it. Also, when you look on the inking grades, it's good quality coming out, but still you have much more topics with contamination, organic contamination in this mixed collection than when you have a separate collection that we are proposing with the blue and the yellow bin. So what I would like to say, it is working. It is also needs to be sorting for that purpose. But when you look on the fiber quality, it is not the same level what you have when you are able to use a blue bin in addition to the yellow bin. So basically the mixed collection is yellow bin without blue bin. So if you separate it, it's possible. The system that you mentioned, the Finnish system, basically is a one more bin, and I would say this is probably possible, or it's depending very much on the country. So when you have a dense populated country, simply the number of collection systems is limited. And therefore, it's a question of efficiency that Monica has already mentioned, to find the right number of bins in order to get the recyclables collected in the best possible way, to get good recycling possibilities in the end. And therefore, I say it's working in France. From an paper or standard mail perspective, if there's a possibility to add a blue bin, it's better.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I support your words. I mean, in France, it is true that the collection system is made predominantly with paper packaging bin in the yellow bin. And this gives many problems to the whole collection system. First of all, you have to introduce all this paper in a sorting line, which is sometimes not necessary if you have the blue bin. Then secondly, all this packaging is contaminated. The problems that this gives to the collection, to the sorting system, and then to the paper mills depends on the quantity of the contamination we have, but it creates big problems in terms of quality of the fiber. And also, even if waste management companies and public authorities, they do have very good sorting lines, then the quality of the material finally is not the same as if you collect it through the blue bin. So when this material is received in some paper mills, then it gets much more non-paper components, much more contamination, much more, and then also the organic contamination. So this is not the ideal way. And then sometimes this material is the first one to be refused when there is a surplus of material in the market. Is the best one that is discarded by the paper mills, because the problems they give are very difficult to deal with. Then secondly, the Finnish system is the alternative they have chosen there, but in terms of collection and sorting and recycling, maybe for the paper recyclers is not the best, because if the beverage cartons are collected with the rest of the packaging or the rest of the fiber-based packaging, then you have to send all the household collection to sorting lines specialized in sorting these beverage cartons, and separate these beverage cartons from the other paper-based materials. Or you have to send all the household collection to specialized mills, which is also not economically speaking very efficient, because you need a special pulpers, special equipment in the paper mills to deal with this. So for technical reasons or for economical reasons, it is not the preferred way to, and that's why our guidance settles the two routes, with the blue bin, with all the papers collected in one bin, and then the rest of the packaging collected in another bin, and the fiber base and the liquid packaging board to be collected together with the lightweight packaging, the other lightweight packaging.
Thank you, Thomas and Guillermo. Then perhaps this sort of like a follow-up question could be for Monica. is that, like, do you see that there would be then any reason, or like in which countries it would not make sense to apply this blue and yellow bin best practice model being now discussed? Both Thomas and Guillermo were quite convincing, speaking on its behalf, also acknowledging that there are other models available. So what is your say on this?
I think it was also mentioned in the guidance that there are different solutions in the different member states, meaning that even in one member state, there are different ways of collection. So one of the recommendations was to harmonize as much as possible at national level the collection, so not to have different collections in different municipalities in one member state. So I think this is one of the ways. Regarding naming countries that it can be difficult. Again, as I mentioned, basically with the harmonized labeling, even if it will take a little bit of time, I think the pictograms also being colored will help the consumers to sort the packaging in the most efficient way. Regarding the different systems that were mentioned by Thomas and Guillermo, it's difficult to say which country might have difficulties. Usually, countries with different EPR systems need more efforts in order to harmonize and to move into the most efficient sorting and collecting systems. So it's difficult to say which countries might have difficulties. Again, it depends so much on the local situation there. So it's difficult to say. I mean, if you change the system, as I mentioned before, it takes 2 to 4 years for people to adapt. So possibly it should be important to see the pros and cons of changing the systems and whether to decide to improve the current system or to decide to change the system. So again, it's a balance how to achieve the best results. So I guess it will be a decision of the countries, of the national authorities. But again, when there is a good cooperation between the industry via EPR and the local authorities, is usually the best results. So I would not say that one system is the best. I mean, I understand the positives for the after actions of the having blue and yellow bin, but again, in some countries that could be difficult. So again, I think the objective should be to have the best system for the country, ensuring high quality sorted material. That will be my guess.
Thanks a lot, Monica. And of course, in order to enable material to be sorted with high quality, in order to also enable maximized value recovery in recycling. There are a few questions what comes to this 95% division. Or German 5% rule, as we saw it in the slides today earlier. And there is question about how do you see the harmonization in the guidelines for this paper plastic or paper non-fiber material ratio in Europe? And is there sort of a way forward for the whole Europe in terms of harmonization? And instead of going into the a packaging design, I would more like to approach this from a particularly sorting point of view. And then of course what is collected gets sorted and eventually gets recycled. So also from recycling point of view. So how do you see this 95.5% rule? So is it clear enough for this division between, for example, blue and yellow bin? If I give floor first to Thomas, and then if others want to continue.
Okay, let me start with an initial comment that we should maybe have in the head, and this is was coming already from Giuliano's presentation. Already today we have a 80% recycling rate in paper. And when it comes to packaging, the recycling rate is even higher than that. So everything what we are discussing today is to improve an already well implemented system. And also, when you look on other packaging side, like plastics, even glass and metal, paper is ahead when it comes to recycling rates. So I think whatever we do, we have to do the right things in the right way. When it comes to harmonization, harmonization is always improving systems, because we have companies, not only Veolia, also Saika, also other like Nestle, Procter, name it who it is, who are operating in different European countries. And naturally, it is more easy for us to work in a standardized way than to work differently country by country. In the end, I would say what Monica highlighted is it still depends a little bit on the local system, and we have to whatever we do, we have to do stepwise, and it must make sense. So coming back to your initial question on 95.5, guidance must be easy and understandable, even with or without the pictograms. And 95.5 is easy, because everybody can understand that more than 95% fiber is a fiber or is mono packaging, and less is simply a composite. So that's pretty easy to understand. Still, as I highlighted already before, we have other dimensions like contamination with food, with liquids, which is affecting the sorting and also the recycling process. Just to give you an example, so water has an impact on fiber and on NR spectra. So if you have more water or more moisture in a fiber, it could be that it is not as good as detected as a dry material, and therefore it's sorted into the wrong stream. So basically, clean and dry makes it easier for us and gives the better quality then to the outcome.
Thank you. Do you, Guillermo, want to continue?
I wanted to say something about that. It is, as Thomas says, 80% of the packaging or the paper products are now being recycled. And then consumers, if there is a blue bin, yellow bin system, consumers knows perfectly which paper. Well, we have to insist on making education, but when you have the traditional paper products with no layers and these kind of things, then consumers knows that this has to go to the blue bin. And then we have now new packaging, paper-based packaging, with composite paper-based packaging that needs the consumer then needs some guidance, because it is paper, but you see that there are other things in this packaging, and then also sometimes it is contaminated, and then it is not the typical paper-based packaging that you throw in the yellow bin. And then in this moment, the consumers need some guidance. The 95.5 rule is an easy rule, but it is true that sometimes the 95.5 is not the barrier to say if a paper-based packaging is recyclable or not in a standard mill. And then also the consumer does not know, the consumers do not know if this packaging is 95.5 or it is 90.10. I think that pictograms are the best way to give guidance to the consumers in this gray zone of packaging, where consumers can have some doubts on where to throw this packaging, if they must go to the blue bin or to the yellow bin, because you have, as I said, you have some things there and you don't know if it is 5% or 10%, and then you have a packaging with organic contamination, and normally the consumer or consumers, we are not used to throw this packaging in the blue bin. And then that's why I think that the guidance is necessary, and the harmonization of pictograms will be really very welcome when talking about the future of the collection systems.
Many thanks, Guillermo. Now I would like to well, we have been all here as industry representatives today, but at home we are consumers, and we have been touching the consumer interface a lot. But can you still sort of crystallize that how do you see the role of consumer in contributing to the separation at source to improve collection, sorting, and recycling? And how could we as industry help consumer to make the right choices? If we start with Monica.
Thank you. Basically, indeed, as already repeated several times during this webinar, the consumers are a key, so it depends whether they do this or that in sorting their waste, and that defines the operation of the whole system afterwards. Actually, our Belgian member, FOS Plus, they have tried to see how consumers understood the instructions. And again, I would like to go a little bit up the processes. So basically, when a packaging is very complicated, then sometimes even with instructions, the citizens struggle to understand how to do it. So as I was mentioning in my presentation, it's very important that also the manufacturers of packaging have that in mind when producing a packaging. Of course, there should be balance between the function of the packaging and its recyclability or sustainability. But again, this should be taken into consideration. So basically, I would think that consumers should be informed and motivated in order to do the right thing. Again, the current system should be further built on to improve and to make it easier for the consumers. But apart from education and communication, I think these are the keys. And what communication people in the EP organizations usually say, the work is never done. So you need to, again, inform and motivate people all the time. So you cannot do one campaign and then stop. You continue. And as I mentioned, because our members are not for profit, the part of the funds that the companies pay for the treatment of their packaging waste are used for communication campaigns, for cooperating with local authorities, so organizing jointly or only by the EP organizations campaigns in order to motivate the citizens to do the proper sorting of their waste. So I would think this is key to inform and to motivate citizens. Of course, there are also pay as you throw and different other measures that can be also taken by local authorities in order to ensure that there are not only incentives and motivation and communication, but also some measures if some citizens are kind of destroying the work of the cautious citizens that sort their waste in the right way, and then there could be, contamination. I would also like to highlight that in all the instructions that our members provide to the citizens, either via some papers or some documents, there is also a digital way. So QR codes when the consumers can check with their iPhones and with their phones and see how this will happen and what they should do in order to sort the right way. So again, combining incentives and information and being comfortable for the citizens to sort their waste, also with some other measures, as I mentioned in Belgium, when not the right packaging is in the blue bag, there are some sanctions. So combining all these different measures in order to achieve the right behavior by the consumers.
Thank you, Monica. Would you like to continue, Thomas, from your experience, very briefly?
Let me say so. I think I'm quite into this topic and know the streams and also the demand of the paper mills. Last weekend I was cooking with my children, and we were facing a packaging for food, and actually we were standing in the kitchen, and they were asking me what to do with it: blue bin, yellow bin, black bin. And I simply said, I don't know. And so let me say, so let's make it simple, clear for the consumers. So if we as a professional don't know, how they should know. So make it simple and also improve the purpose. So I think people also have to understand that if they do the right thing, they will help something to improve the recycling, because there are also some rumors that whatever is being collected here and there, it's in the end burned and not recycled. So if let's keep it high, the information that this is a good material, it's a high recycling standard, and make it easy to decide which bin.
Thank you very much. I see that we are almost running out of time, and perhaps we give floor to Guillermo then to share his thoughts the next time. But I'd like to start closing this session. Many thanks for everyone in the panel over the presentations as well as online. So over the decades, because of the good collection system, we have been able to increase paper and board packaging recycling rates up to 80%. And we can truly be proud of Europe being the recycling champion today. However, as Monica said, the work is never done. And 4evergreen has the ambition to go above and beyond to reach the 90% recycling rate for fiber-based packaging by 2030. Now we have the opportunity to benefit from the value chain approach to ensure that fiber-based packaging is truly recycled at scale. But we need everyone's contribution to make this happen. So now please read more about this version 3 on guidance on the improved collection and sorting of fiber-based packaging for recycling that has been just launched. You will find the link to this publication in the Q&A. Now, many thanks for everyone's contribution and interest on this very important topic. So let's remember that one man's trash is another man's treasure, and make sure to get it sorted. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.